Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Farm for Profit Podcast. This is Tanner.
This is Corey.
And we get to jump right into a What's Working in Ag segment. We don't get to do these very often. I feel like we have a lot of them, but they're not planned as What's Working in Ag segments.
Why do you think that is?
I just think they end up being shorter conversations that fit well into that spot of our show.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, there's a value in every conversation, and if we can draw some out for our listeners, then that's great.
That's exactly right. And that's why these are working for our listeners, and that's why this topic is something that's going to work for them as well. If you think something's working for your farm, farmforprofitllc@gmail.com, or shoot us a text, 515-207-9640. We didn't have to go very far to get this guest.
No, this might be one of our most local guests ever.
I didn't realize he was even a neighbor of mine. He's like a neighbor of both of ours.
He's actually more of a neighbor of you than me. We're farm neighbors. You guys are like actual
House neighbors.
Yeah.
we just ride golf carts to each other's houses now.
So welcome to the show, Nick Helland. Good farmer from the area, know your family very well. I've snowmobiled with your uncle, and very well-respected family from the area. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. And I guess I didn't realize that we were golf cart neighbors as well. I knew Corey and I shared a couple fence rows.
Yeah.
We actually had a conversation last week about trying to burn some CRP collectively, but I didn't realize that, we were in golf cart range, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun fact is Nick and I are probably one of the only two hog producers like within 20 miles of this area.
Yeah, that is interesting. But I want to know, as fence row neighbors, is the fence still there, or is it whoever gets there gets to pick where the fence line is?
Well, so we've got one of each. So the one over by between our hog sites, there's a nice fence between us, and that there's only one spot to go between the fence. There's no miscommunication there, but there's another one that there could be a little bit of wiggling on that line, but we've never had any problems so far.
I might have went over 3 or 4 rows this time. I just want you to know, though, it's a conventional hybrid, and my theory was I'd rather not have a gap, and if you spray it, just kill it, and then we won't have a gap.
Yeah. I may have used his field as a driveway because I didn't want to go onto the busy highway. So it works out. We're so far pretty good neighbors, and we haven't got mad at each other.
Yep. But neighbor relations is not why we're here today.
But it does kind of tie into industry relations.
It does.
I mean, you're both in there. I have to compliment your shirt. You did not disappoint this morning.
I was trying to match the vibe.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you guys have rocked some pretty good shirts on some podcasts. So I was like, I got to come correct.
I love it.
Yeah, and I had to get corn on my shirt. Nick has, if you're not watching, he has a beautiful Hawaiian corn shirt.
That's right. When can we start calling those Iowa corn shirts?
10 seconds ago.
There we go. We
Just
did it.
happened.
So you are here as a member of the Iowa Corn Growers Association, but is your involvement deeper than that?
Yeah. So currently I'm the District 5 president. So if you guys are familiar with Iowa, there's 9 corn districts. District 5 is right here in the center, and I'm actually the president, and I also serve currently on our research and business development committee. So one of the committees that kind of controls how we invest our research dollars. So I'm a little bit more involved than a lot of the average members, but there's a lot of levels that you can get engaged with Iowa Corn.
Brief history on your involvement, because I know you've been involved with Iowa Corn for quite a while. Mm-hmm. When did you get started?
I really got my start with their leadership and development program called iLead, and I've been in the business side of ag for a long time and done a lot of corporate professional development things. And honestly, I'll put the iLead program against any of those. They do a great job. It's a 2-year program, and you do a lot of things that a lot of farmers may not normally get. So leadership training, media training, decision management training, bias training, and then there's some really cool events where you actually go to Washington, D.C., and you speak to some of your congressional folks on some of these issues. We actually got the chance to go to an international trip and see, hey, we're great at growing corn, but a lot of that corn gets sent overseas. So we went down to Colombia, Peru, and the Panama Canal to say, hey, it's important to know what's on the other end of what we grow. And so getting that global perspective really kind of changes what you do back here and say, hey, how can we serve that end customer better? So I started in the iLead program and then kind of said, I really see what we're doing and I value it. I want to stay involved, and I've served on 3 different committees since then. So, and then I also got nominated as district president this last year.
Man.
Because that's intimidating. We know we have listeners that would be great to serve on boards and get involved with organizations, but that first step is usually the scariest one.
Yeah, there's a lot of places in life where that first step is what stops a lot of people, and I know I've been there a few times, and all I can say is just take a small step first.
Yeah.
You know, if you're hesitant, you know, start with going to one of our roundtables and just have a conversation with your neighbors to say, hey, you know, I may not be ready to jump in and go on an international trade mission, but okay, let's see what our neighbors are saying, see what kind of conversations and issues that they see, and let's talk about that. And that's a great place to kind of get your foot in the water to say, hey, let's start here and see where we need to go.
What happens at these roundtables? What gets talked about?
Yeah, so there's a roundtable in each of the crop reporting districts, and then there's actually one online as well. But it's a forum for anybody that's a member of Iowa Corn to come and say, hey, what's on your mind? What are you seeing? What are the things that you think Iowa Corn and national corn need to be bringing up, you know, at a state level, at a national level? And what are the sides of this conversation? There could be topics that have a couple different sides that we need to kind of hash through as members and say, hey, I think we need to be in this position, and I think this is something that we need to have either a policy at the state level, or it could be something that it's like, I want Iowa Corn to raise this to the national corn level. So, for example, you guys were at the Commodity Classic in Denver. During that Commodity Classic is the Corn Congress, and that's where all of the state level groups kind of have all these discussions and say, hey, this got brought up at our grassroots, and we think it rose to the level of needing something at the state level. But we also think it's something that needs to be at the federal level. So you can have a conversation with your neighbor on a local level, and it kind of works up that chain and becomes a state level thing, becomes a national level thing. So really these conversations that start small, they can graduate into something quite bigger.
So how does the topics at these roundtables even get to the roundtable? Is there a process before that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually a membership survey that goes out to all the Iowa corn growers. It's live right now for any of the members out there. So if you have things that you want to make sure are brought up at roundtables, you can fill out this survey. But you don't have to. You can come to the roundtable and just bring something up. And, you know, it doesn't have to be on the survey, but it's like, hey, here's something that I'm seeing. Wasn't on the survey. Let's talk about this at the roundtable level.
And anybody in Iowa that grows corn is a member, or how does that membership portion of the membership survey work?
Yeah, so you can be a couple different types of members. You don't have to grow corn to be a member of Iowa Corn. So, for example, I took the liberty of kind of looking up your guys' status. And Corey, good job. You're an Iowa Corn member, so I appreciate it.
I saw this coming as soon as he opened his mouth.
And I'd like to point out you were the one that opened your mouth. So I'd like to invite you to become a non-growing member of Iowa Corn. And you have the absolute ability to come and participate in the roundtables and everything else. You can't serve on the board because you have to be marketing corn to serve on the board. Yep. But you can absolutely come to the roundtables and participate and say, hey, I have a pretty good pulse on the ag industry through my job. Yep. I think this is something that needs to be brought up. You absolutely can do that.
Yeah, our CTO probably should have had a farm for profit membership in the works.
Hey, I got my own personal membership. And I think I have brought up, what do you call that? What, like a corporate membership? Or Yep. I have brought that up. I thought you did it.
Oh, see, we'll just cast billions back and forth, back and forth. But it's taken away from the value of the conversation that we're having. I do feel that that's great. If you are connected in the industry, that's something you should go about, because I didn't realize that my simple survey answers could start a discussion that comes up in these grassroots meetings.
Yep.
And then, but what happens after that? We sit there and we have a talk. You talked about it getting to commodity. Yeah. There's got to be something in between.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So the roundtables will happen, I think most of them are in June this year. But then in August, at the end of August, we will have the Grassroots Summit for Iowa Corn. And that's where you're going to see all of the topics that were brought up at Roundtable. And usually they're sent to a committee. Like if they're relevant to research, me on the research committee might see some of the topics that were brought up at the grassroots and say, hey, that's something that needs to be pushed to the summit level. So we're going to take it to the grassroots summit in August and say, broader Iowa corn, everybody that is not at the, we'll just say District 5 roundtable where this was discussed, hey, this is something that was brought up, let's take a vote on it to see what the broader membership looks like. So that's kind of the next step in that.
It's a nice process. So you can do a very minimal, right? You can just fill out the survey. Like that's really easy. What that takes probably a few minutes.
Yeah,
I would
5-10
imagine.
minutes. You can skip questions if you feel like it.
And then it goes to the roundtables, which is a little bit more focused. You can get, talk to your neighbors and all that, and then someone like Nick and the committee hones those answers in, and then you go to the grassroots.
Yep.
Is the next step then the Corn Congress?
It can be. I mean, there's some things that are Iowa specific, and they may not need to go to that national level. It could be hey, we want the state to have this as a priority in the legislature. Obviously, that's not going to go to the federal level, but there could be things that need to be elevated to that level.
Okay.
That's good. So we're recording this here early spring, late spring, mid-spring. I don't even know what to call it
Late
anymore.
April. It is late April right now.
But we have dates coming up. Corey, you've got a list of dates to start off with those roundtables.
I do. If you want to go to one of these roundtables, they are June 16th through the 20th. June 16th, District 3 will be at Single Speed Brewing in Waterloo. District 8 will be at the Brick House Tavern in Indianola.
I'm sensing a theme.
District 9 will be at Airport Road Winery in Mount Pleasant. So it sounds like even if you maybe are thinking you shouldn't go to this, maybe you should because it sounds like it's just going to be a good time. Maybe you'll just go learn and listen.
Have a
and
Have
At
a drink.
least you're getting a good meal out of this.
Yep. And those are all at 6:30 p.m., I should add. June 17th at 6:30 p.m. District 1 will be at Waterfront Grill and Event Center at Arnold's Park. District 6, the Red Pin in Tipton, Iowa. District 7, Griswold Community Center at Griswold, Iowa. So that's the first one that...
They better have a cooler of beer.
Yeah, that stinks. I'm sure they'll have some good refreshments there. June 18th at 6:30, District 2, the Boulevard Bar and Grill in Clear Lake. District 4, Deal's Orchard in Jefferson, which is a very cool place. I've been there.
That is.
And then June 19th, District 5, Nick, that's you and me.
Yep.
Iowa Speedway down in Newton. So that's a good one. And in case you can't make any of those in person, June 20th at 12 p.m. is a virtual one, and you can get the Zoom link at iowacorn.org. And I should say the district, they're all at 6:30 except for the virtual and District 5 and Newton. Those are both at 12 p.m. At noon.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you guys need a ride to District 5, just give me a call.
Yeah.
I like that. We should take a limo over there.
We're not taking the golf carts.
No.
Fill up with some E85 and zoom on down to the Newton Speedway.
That's right. That's good.
Which there's going to be another race there that you guys are a part of too. So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
So, Nick, this has been a pleasure. One, it's been very short. That's the design of a What's Working in Ag segment. We appreciate you sharing a little bit about your story about how Iowa Corn has been working for you and for your farm. It's also kind of neat that we may have a substitute guest if we ever need one that's literally right down the road.
That's true. You're pretty good on the mic, and with Dave missing all these, maybe you just come and fill that third seat once in a while.
Well, Dave's high maintenance. I mean, it takes a lot to deal with him. So happy to jump in anytime you guys need.
Yeah, so remember, folks, if you're in Iowa, go check out the Iowa Corn Growers Association. And two, if you're not from the state of Iowa, your state also has representation that you can participate in. So thanks again, Nick. Appreciate you showing up.
Thanks, guys.